Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Refuge from Narcissism, and this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's his story. Hi, Ollie. Please keep me anonymous. There's some raunchy shit in here. I hope you and Charlene and Katz are doing well. Thank you for all you do. Your no BS commentary and humor have helped me process what happened to me. I'm looking forward to hearing your analysis, and I hope my story can help those who went through similar abuse not feeling so alone. Warning: mom on son sexual deviance and heavy brainwashing ahead. Any names have been changed. Oh boy. Hmm. I'm a recovering son, husband, golden child, sexual surrogate, the millennial 30 of two boomers, 62 and 65. I'm gay, but not in a closet case. I'm fine with it. My parents divorced when I was two. I don't really have a relationship with my dad. We've met and we talk every 6 months or so. It's cordial, no issues, but no real depth either. He has a daughter from a previous marriage and grandkids through her. When I was young, mom would shit talk him in a way that I didn't realize was shit talking, almost a pitying tone. She also recounts some physical abuse, and I don't want to dismiss it, but who knows? We moved in with my mom's parents after the divorce. My formative years were spent at their house. The four of us in a two-bedroom townhouse. My mom's sister, Aunt Titty, was there too, but she had her own place. A bit of family background. My mother and her three siblings grew up in Bangkok, Thailand during the 70s Vietnam era. We weren't Thai, they were just stationed there. My grandfather was an officer in the US Army and was rarely at home. There was a cult of personality around him. He was basically a god. Aunt Titty has become the family scapegoat for saying that he was sexually abusive to her during childhood. All four of them seem to agree he was cruel and tyrannical father, but they hate Titty for talking about the specifics. Unfortunately, Aunt Titty turned deviant herself and passed on the abuse to her son, my cousin, who is now no low contact. My childhood, what I can remember, was spent dreaming of escape. I love atlases, maps, languages, learning about far off places. Now I realize why. I would often have and still have the same dream about a shadow person coming up the stairs to my room, only tiny eyes visible. I'm paralyzed with dread. It tiptoes into the room and the screeching sound starts. It gets louder as it crawls into the bed and gets on top of me. I hope this is a dream and not reality based on what you open this with. Tunnel vision starts and I could feel its finger on my stomach. I usually wake up at that point. There's another version where my grandmother is just standing against the wall doing nothing to help me. I told Aunt Titty about it. I still trusted her at that point, and she subtly tried to find out if Grandpa was touching me. I think she also got sexually charged by the idea, as she loved to talk about penises with me. My mother said I was just scared of the dark and could sleep in a bed with her. Listen, listen, there's no way your mother doesn't know, based on the history, doesn't know something is off with her family. And they make no attempt to protect you. None. None. There's no way they don't know. There's no way they don't know. Once mom started working, we got our own place. I remember her being naked often, just walking through the house with nothing on. Even in my adulthood, would do this in front of me with her towel up, provocatively, like she's doing a sexy dance, saying, "Don't look. Are you looking? Are you?" "No, mom, I don't want to watch your obese, sexy dance." She was also strangely obsessed with my pubic hair. My mother would talk about that shit. My mother would like to try. I would rip out, not pubic hair, but I would rip out my underarm hair when I was 14, 15, when it first started, because my mother would constantly trying to see if anything would, and I'd rip it out because I didn't want him to know I would start shaving. I didn't want any of it. Once I started shaving, I mean, I just had a, I like once the hair started coming in on my face and all, and but there was a good year where I was just plucking out armpit hair so my mother couldn't see it. And I don't want to say it's no wonder you're gay. I don't. But that'll destroy your masculinity. I'll tell you that. That'll. I'm not saying you could have been born gay. I don't know. I'm not making any judgments. But having a mother like this doesn't help. That's for goddamn sure. Doesn't help. What a degenerate. What a fucking degenerate. She was also strangely obsessed with my pubic hair, constantly asking if I started growing it because she needed to check it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Any excuse to try to barge in and see you naked, you fucking degenerates. They're just degenerates. That fucking generation, man. It's like they bred them. One day in the shower, she barged in and demanded to look at it. I cried as she fondled my junk. I never got that far. At that point, I started swinging. My body wasn't mine, and she could do to whatever she wanted. She saw my pubes, and she might tell my grandparents, who hated teenagers, that I was one now. It was around this time that we had the sex talk. She spent a long time going over orgasms and how good they felt, her eyes getting big, almost spinning with delight. I know that look, man. I know that look. Ooh, that my mind, it came with a high pitched shrill with my mother and her mother. Just, my brother knows too. He knows. He knows. He knows. My brother couldn't even be around my mother, didn't want her touching him. If she tried to sit on the same couch, he'd put a fucking pillow as an adult over himself just to put a physical barrier between him and her because she's such a fucking degenerate. He'd lose his fucking mind. And as an adult, he'd lose his mind. Get away from me. Because she'd be cooking, because my brother liked to cook. We both liked to cook later on. And she'd come up and start rubbing on him as an adult. She couldn't stop. She wouldn't stop. And she tried, like, you're crazy. You're acting like, yeah, you could see in her eyes. You could see in her eyes the absolute degenerate thrill she got from all of it. And that's what you're describing here. Baby Boomer is, was, and shall always be a fucking degenerate. Oh, just being a degenerate, they just love it. They love it. It's such a rush. The debauchery and the degeneracy. And if they could do it to their own fucking children, that taboo shit, they're like orgasmic. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry that she did. I know it. And I know this is what I was fighting my mother, because if she could have gotten through. The next couple memories are fragments. There's no context, and I may have blocked the surrounding details. I remember her asking if I wanted to have sex with her, and I remember having wet dreams and masturbating in bed next to her. It's embarrassing to admit, but there it is. No wonder you went gay, dude. No wonder. If it ever got to that point, who knows? People on the outside, they don't get this. They'll never understand this. They'll never, you can't put this into words, the destruction this does. Even if you tell them and they understand it, until you've experienced it, you don't know. You'll never know it. You'll never know the damage that this causes for life. There was also the social aspect of the abuse from early on. The cats were referred to as my siblings. I was also terrified of becoming a teenager because my grandparents hated them. And that would mean I'm bad like them too, hence the pubic hair issue. I wasn't allowed to hang out with other kids my age because I would end up on drugs and in jail. I was so isolated that I believed all of this. My only purpose was to get straight A's and put on a perfect performance for family friends. They were keeping me a perpetual child. Meanwhile, my mom acted like she was best friends with my classmates, the cool mom. Yeah, yeah, exactly. She was trying to fuck a couple of them too, without question. I think my high school classmates knew something was wrong. They were kind to me, including me and stuff, inviting me out, and this conflicted with what I had been taught about them. My training started to crack. I started to talk more like a normal kid around them. And whenever both my family life and school life came together, I would panic that I might be discovered. I went to a local university because I felt guilty about leaving mom alone with grandma and the cats, my siblings, remember? Grandpa was dead and grandma was on her way there. This was my rebellious phase because I wanted to socialize with my peers and I was of age. Mom hated that she couldn't control me, calling the cops on me numerous times for being out late, accusing me of destroying the family with my behavior, screaming at me until I would black out. Granted, I was never on drugs and never came home drunk. I still got a 4.0 because without straight A's, what was I worth? I joined the army after university and grandma died the day after I left home. It was hard at first, but eventually I was making healthy friendships and was good at my job. I basically forgot everything that happened at home and had a kind of delusion that my relationship with mom was still good. How could you think that? I mean, how after all that, you still are thinking that you have some sort of good relationship with this fucking demon? 6 years later, I was medically discharged from the Army after a training accident. I was pretty upset that my career abruptly ended, but I had a contracting job lined up right after I got to the new town job. Everything is coming together. Then mom calls. She tells me she's going blind, can't work anymore, asks to move in with me. Oh, God, here comes the son husbanding. I accept. I had just bought a house and she had more than enough and had more than enough space for the both of us, I thought. The first couple weeks were fine, but then she started talking to, threatening me like a child again. I needed to inform her of things. She started going into my room, changing my stuff, just enough to let me know she had been there. Oh, I was just doing my whites. I wanted to see if you had any. I politely asked her not to go in my room. She appeared insulted, but agreed. That didn't last long. She also moved a bunch of furniture out of the living room. Out into the living room while I was at work, badly scratching up the brand new floor I had just installed. When I asked why she didn't wait for me to do it, she started crying. You always make me feel terrible about everything. I calmly replied, I'm not allowed to be upset about this. I'm allowed to be upset about this. This is my house, but I'm not trying to make you feel terrible. She hugged me and put her arms around my neck and her head on my chest, sigh crying in a way that made me feel really uncomfortable, per usual. You think? You think? I feel like you don't want to make a home with me, she whimpered. Make a home with my... Degenerates. Degenerates. Then it came time to set up her TV service. She had a specific set of channels she needed. I showed her the TV box and how she could access the channels she wanted on it. It's organized by shows, videos on there. There's no TV guide with times, etc. You just pick the show you want and watch. She tried it for a couple days, then said how she wanted to watch TV. Then said it wasn't how she wanted to watch TV. So over the next couple of days, I talked to different companies to see what could be set up using traditional cable. I got something set up that I thought would work for her and went to work the next day. When I came home, she was sitting in her chair in her room, looking out the window, being very quiet, the kind of quiet that used to make my stomach tighten. I knew I had done something awful without her saying a word. That evening, she summoned me from my room into the living room and told me to sit on the floor in front of her. This is your fucking house, dude. This is your house. Holy fucking shit, the entitlement. The entitlement, the entitlement of the boomer. You let them in, they take over everything. She told me what I had done wrong with sad indignation that became righteous rage. I screwed up her channels deliberately. I hadn't, to be clear. She just didn't like the setup. But she never stopped with the current accusation. She told me I had been uncaring, unfeeling towards her since she arrived. No sympathy, empathy, and dug into my various lifelong failures and shortcomings. As she got louder and louder until she was screaming, I started to get tunnel vision. My body froze up. It was like my brain was short-circuiting. I was 10 years old again. She dismissed me when she was done, and she said she didn't want to hear from me again that night. I went to my room and got in bed feeling trapped, hoping I wouldn't wake up. This happened several times over the next few months for various reasons. I hope you threw this bitch right out. That's when I finally got it. After not living at home for years, I had learned what normal could be. And this sudden reminder of the past showed me that there was something very wrong. I searched online, found narcissism content, and it changed everything. I tried talking to my aunts about it, but Aunt Spam is a total enabler of the she's your mom and loves you variety, and Aunt Titty gets a sexual charge of hearing all of it. Bye, bitches. It would be a couple years before I had the mental strength to detach from her, but it's done. She lives alone near Aunt Spam, and I'm putting my life back together. And in the clarity of almost no contact, in the clarity of almost no contact. Thanks to your contact and self-reflection, I also know what to watch for in my own behavior and thoughts, because as we know, like herpes, it keeps on giving. Thanks for taking the time to read this, and stay safe and healthy. Anonymous. That's horrible. That's just fucking awful. And I'm sorry you had to endure all of it. okay? And I know exactly the type of fucking boomer degenerate that got off on it and raised you, dude, okay? Believe me, you say you're almost no contact, you got to go all no contact, okay, from the baby boomer degenerate. There's no almost no contact. It's all no contact from the fucking baby boomer degenerate. And that's what this is. That's what you were raised by. A fucking clan of baby boomer degenerates. Ugh. Ugh. There is no almost no contact. It's all no contact. Because these degenerates ruined you. And after all that freedom, you got yourself sucked right back in thinking this was a good person. Some woman that had you jerking off in the bed with her. Oh, oh, if my mother could have pulled that one off, God, she would have, oh, God, would she have loved that. So that one got me. So, but thank you. Thank you for your contribution in Story Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal or Zelle and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care, everybody.